So many things happened this week to support the idea for this talk. Earlier this week, I was asked, as part of my Toastmasters group, which of course is online, I was the chairperson, and so the person introducing me asked what my most unexpected blessing was as a result of this pandemic. And I started thinking about all of the blessings that have come from this most painful time. I started to think of the wonderful Zoom connections that I have with family across the entire world. There's a group of 20 of us that got together on Zoom across 3 continents and multiple countries. And it has been such a heartwarming experience to once a month gather with the cousins and the aunts and the children and reconnect in a way that would not have happened in our previously busy life schedule. I started to think about how I realize that I can live with much less than I thought I could. Especially my closet full of clothes. I realized how grateful I am to live in this country. I realized how impressed I am to hear people who would be uncomfortable turning on a computer now discussing the merits of Zoom versus Facebook Live. Seeing my mom figure out how to not just access her email, but get onto Zoom and be able to learn new technology at the age of 83. It made me realize how adaptable we all are and how easily we are able to integrate new information and adjust. And perhaps most important of all, the biggest blessing has been an awareness of values. What do I stand for? What do I care about? And as a result of those values, choosing to wear a mask, choosing to stay home as much as possible, and choosing to be less scheduled and to spend more time with myself. It's been almost 4 months to the day since we had the beginning of this pandemic response in British Columbia. 4 months since the schools were closed, the stores were closed, and we were all asked to cocoon as much as possible, to physically distance from each other, to wash our hands, to stay home, to wear a mask. At times, those 4 months seemed like it was just yesterday. And at other times, it seems like it was a long time. We've been in this a long time. Now, thanks to joint leadership, there's something to be grateful for from our medical profession and our politicians. We appear to have been in the place where we're over the hump, at least the first hump here in British Columbia. And that means that we now can start looking towards going out to restaurants again and expanding our bubbles of people and connecting in person again. It also means that we could end up becoming busy again. And so this question that was asked of me, what do you appreciate most, led me to realize that for some of us, we will just go on and get busy again without taking the time to reflect on how far we've come. And so the very first idea that I want to share with you today is the importance of stopping and taking an appreciative look back at where we've been. Because if you're like me, and I know some of you will appreciate and identify with this, the tendency is, okay, this is done, time to move to the next, without taking a time in that pause space to appreciate and celebrate all that we have gone through. This constant focus on moving from one thing to another is something that we had gotten quite used to pre-COVID. And now is our opportunity to stop and take a break and appreciate where we are and how far we've come, and let us celebrate that. The reason I was laughing earlier today, and the reason that this is an important topic, not just because of what I was asked at Toastmasters, but also what's going on right here in this ministry at the moment. Because we started out being completely closed and working from a remote place to live stream our services. And now that we're back in the sanctuary and live streaming our services, the technology needs to be a little different. And now that we're live streaming and discovering that Facebook, for example, will mute some of the songs that we even have a license to, so it's not really a pleasant situation if you're trying to listen to it after the fact. So we're constantly trying to move forward. We're constantly trying to adapt. We're constantly trying to anticipate and work towards, like little hamsters on our little wheel, continuing to move forward. And Martha Creek, who was our guest speaker a few weeks ago, shared on a call that I have with her and several ministers every week, that she has a prayer that goes something like, deliver us from the temptation to think that just because technology worked in rehearsal, it will work today. And that's exactly what happened this morning, and in fact what happened last week. And so we have this temptation to get upset at ourselves and think about how we should be doing it better, and other ministries are doing it better, and if only we could. And some of that's true. And we will work towards improvement. But if we fail to remember where we started from and celebrate how far we've come, then we do ourselves a disservice. And so right now, I shout out to Walt and to Richard and to Jerry, who are constantly working to improve our audio video. And I appreciate a upon reflecting where we've come from, how much we have accomplished. You know, in the book of Genesis, the story of creation is told, the very first chapter of Genesis. And it talks about God creating the heavens and the earth. And then God creates the land and the water and so on. What we sometimes forget is that at the end of every day, God takes a break and looks at the work that he has done, and he says, it is good. It is good. So as we think back to this time, let us reflect and capture the good before we get back on our treadmills. Let us remember the wonder of this time, both the sadness and the joy, both the sense of despair and the sense of discovery. I mentioned a few weeks ago that I saw this cartoon which is set in the future, and the family is sitting around talking about right now, and how the parents are saying to each other what a terrible time that pandemic was for us, how hard it was. And the children who are now older in this cartoon say, well, it was the best time of our lives. We got to see you, Mom. We got to see you, Dad. We got to play with the pets. We got to play video games and board games and do art. Yes, we did schoolwork. But there are people who will long for the simplicity of this time. So let us learn from that. Cherry pick the things that we want to carry forward and reflect with appreciation some of the gifts that have been part of this pandemic. And I use the pandemic, but don't limit yourself to just the pandemic. This looking back with appreciation is something that one could do with every life situation. Coming back through after a divorce, after the loss of a loved one, after the loss of a job, a relationship. Looking back with reflective, appreciative eyes at some of the reasons that you are who you are today, even if you had a childhood that was bitter. Finding the gems that came from those difficult times and reflecting with appreciation. The next thing I want to invite you to consider before moving to the busyness is to renew. Speaking with a different friend this week, pardon me, who was saying that everything's going pretty smoothly. Work is caught up and the technology is working, and so they're finding themselves less busy, less frantic. And as a result, they're feeling a little guilty. They don't know what to do because they're not as busy as they normally are. We have difficulty, some of us, with this idea of doing nothing. That somehow resting equates with laziness. That lack of a productive, tangible product means that we are not contributing to society in some way. And I want to challenge this for you, but I also am challenging it for myself because, promise you, this is hard for me. Won't last because I will watch TV and the laptop will be on my lap, and I do both things at once, and I enjoy that, but I'm not quite sure that it's that good for me. And so I invite you to think of a couple of aspects about this. One is to take the time to rest, even when it seems that things are too urgent for you to rest. One of the things that has always kind of confused me is the story in John, in which Jesus is sent word that his best friend Lazarus, the brother of Mary and Martha, you know how you kind of have one group that's sort of like your best friends? Well, Lazarus, Mary, and Martha were Jesus' best friends. And he was off with his disciples in another town, and word came to him that his friend Lazarus was sick. It sounded urgent. Somebody actually came to get him. And Jesus did not go right away. He waited for 2 whole days. And in that time, he realized that Lazarus died. And he eventually made his way back to town, to Bethany. And raised Lazarus from the dead. But it always struck me, why didn't he go right away? Haven't we all had that experience where something just seems so compelling, so urgent, that it cries for our attention? The message I take from that is to make sure that you yourself are restored and ready before you face any kind of crisis. Take the time. You've heard me joke before about the fact that every person should be meditating 20 minutes a day, unless you're too busy, in which case meditate for an hour. Restoring ourselves is the very first step in making sure that we are ready to face the next challenge. Being rested, it allows us to look at things from a much different perspective. And then the other thing I want to share with you is the idea of taking a Sabbath. In Genesis, we speak about at the end of every day, God looked at his work and said it was good. So there's this ongoing appreciation for what we've done. And then when the job was done, God rested. He did nothing. If it were me, I'd be like, That's done. What's next on my list? Let's go. It takes discipline to take time to rest, to renew. Our friends in the Jewish tradition and other faith traditions have an excellent practice that is called the Sabbath. And so from sundown on Friday evening to Saturday evening, people who follow the Jewish faith don't do work. They spend their time with their friends, with their family, going to prayer, reading and discussing scripture, connecting with each other, making time for what is important. What would it take for you to have a Sabbath? What would you have to change and shift so that you could give yourself the gift of 24 hours that are quite literally unplugged? I know there's some of you and a portion of me that are going, no, 24 hours without my phone, without my email, are you crazy? Yes. And I think that opportunity to rest and reset and wonder aimlessly with no specific goal other than to be with yourself and the people you care about and the God of your faith, would be enormously restorative. And surely then, by the following day, things that might have been uncertain will have settled into place. The Sabbath is a gift that you give yourself and the people you care about. And so I invite you to consider this idea. The idea of not working for one whole day. Just being introspective and being with people you care about for one day. If that's too long, see if you could do it for half a day, or an evening, or an afternoon. The important part is the idea of renewing. And the reason that this is important is that it actually helps when we start again. So that we restart, we restore in a way that is completely fresh. And when we do that, we are much more likely to be innovative, to look at a problem or a challenge with fresh eyes, and come up with completely different and unique solutions. One of the things I do on my phone is play Sudoku. Don't tell my mom, because she's an expert at this, where I am not. But there are times when I'll play that game, and I can tell I'm getting tired because I'm making mistakes. Or I play, and then I can't find a solution. I will pause the game, go do something else, come back to the game and see a much clearer, obvious next step that I had not seen before. That is the benefit of renewal. of rest. And so I invite you, before moving to resuming our lives, that we take and make space. Space to reflect with appreciation on where we are and how we got here. To renew ourselves, getting adequate rest, maybe exploring ways to take a Sabbath. And so that when we do resume, we do so fresh, restored, intentional about what we want to accomplish. Reflect, renew, restore. 3 steps that will add to the joy and comfort and ease in your life. Let's take this into a time of quiet reflection. As we cast our thoughts back, we ask the question, where have I come from? How far have I shifted? How wonderful I am. I've come a long way. And I can see that there have been times when life has been unpleasant. And upon reflection, I choose to see the good. I choose to rest in the appreciation. And I choose to renew myself. Where can I rest more? Where am I approaching a situation with urgency? And activity, where maybe I could approach it with presence, with calm. Where can I adjust my priorities to make space for the important things in my life? I know that when I reflect with appreciation, fill myself with joy, with compassion. When I rest, I am honoring myself and the people around me. And when I am ready to resume, I choose focus, intention. I reflect. I renew. Then, and only then, I resume.
When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. When I pray, I feel my soul go deeper, my soul go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my soul go deeper, my soul go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. When I pray, I feel my love go deeper, my love go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my